Do you have an infinite banking policy? Do you want an infinite banking policy? If you've heard of the concept of infinite banking, in this video I'm going to share with you why if you have a policy, you likely don't. And if you want a policy, you're not going to want to miss this video because I'm going to be revealing the hidden truth about the infinite banking strategy in the perfect policy design. It's a dirty little secret that most life insurance agents, they don't want me to share, either because they don't understand it themselves, or worse yet, they're using your lack of insider knowledge to line their own pocket. So if you've ever been considering an infinite banking policy, or if you already have one, stick around and find out why the 4 criteria that I'm going to be sharing with you in this video are a must know for you if you're getting ready to implement this strategy. My friends, my name is Ryan D. Lee and I'm a non-traditional financial strategist. I read the book Becoming Your Own Banker 15 years ago, and since then I've used my own policies to acquire over $10 million in real estate. I've used them to start multiple businesses, and I've used those policies to live life on my own terms. For the last 10 years, I've been helping thousands of people just like you set up the perfect infinite banking policy as a part of their passive income machine to achieve financial freedom in 10 years or less. But here's the problem. Over the years, I've had thousands of people come to me thinking they had an infinite banking policy, only to find out when we sat down and really looked at what they had, that it was designed to benefit their agent, not necessarily them, the one who was putting money into the policy. In this video, I'll show you the 4 simple criteria to ensure your policy works for the infinite banking strategy. The key to success with infinite banking is the policy design. The strategy is powerful, but it only works if your policy is structured correctly. Most agents and policyholders get this aspect wrong. Designing the perfect policy takes both knowledge as well as commitment to a long-term strategy. As you will see in this video, most agents are in a hurry to simply make a sale, and as a result usually end up doing more harm than good when selling what could be a very powerful wealth building strategy. Now, before we jump right into the policy design, let me just take a moment to establish the concept of infinite banking. Infinite banking is a strategy that leverages a properly designed whole life insurance policy to create tax advantage cash flow, safety, and most importantly, leverage. Wealthy individuals use leverage to multiply their money, not just save it. With a well-structured policy, you can borrow against your cash value without ever interrupting its compounding growth. It's like having a line of credit backed by your death benefit. Your cash value keeps growing and compounding while you borrow the insurance company's money to accomplish all of your short-term investment goals. With IBC, your dollars can start doing multiple jobs, which can accelerate the pace that you achieve financial freedom. Infinite banking works best when using a properly designed whole life insurance policy. No other financial tool provides the tax advantages, safety, and guaranteed growth that whole life insurance does. So, what does it take to set up the right kind of policy? Well, there are actually 4 specific sets of criteria to ensure that the policy is a perfect design and a perfect match for the IBC strategy. So, let's dive in with requirement number 1, which is all about minimizing insurance costs. Here's what most life insurance don't want you to know. Their commission is based on your policy's death benefit, not your cash value. So naturally, they want to sell you as much life insurance as possible. But for the infinite banking strategy to work optimally, you don't need the maximum death benefit. In fact, it's quite the opposite. All you need is the minimum required death benefit to maintain the tax advantages outlined in IRS code 7702. This is where most life insurance agents mislead their clients, either out of sheer ignorance, which happens more often than you would think, or out of a desire to earn a bigger commission by selling you more death benefit than you actually need to qualify as an infinite banking policy. Now listen, my friends, an agent who truly has your best interest in mind will reduce their commission by up to 80% to give you a policy with the right balance between cash value and death benefit. Ask yourself this: if you've talked to an agent, or if you already have an agent, is your life insurance agent really looking out for you by selling you the right amount of insurance for your infinite banking policy? Do you even know what this amount is? If not, it's a major red flag. This brings me now to requirement number 2, which is the optimal policy design. Most agents don't understand how to design a policy for the infinite banking strategy. To be honest with you, my friends, most people have never even heard of the infinite banking strategy. And when you approach a life insurance agent and say, I want to buy a life insurance policy to match the infinite banking concept, they'll do a quick bit of due diligence and then they'll just sell you a normal life insurance policy that builds cash value at a normal pace. Now, my friends, in infinite banking, it is critical that you understand how to structure a policy to maximize your cash value. So what I'm gonna have you do is I'm gonna have you come look over my shoulder. I'm gonna draw this out for you and I'm gonna give you some examples of what a properly designed policy should look like and how you can determine what your life insurance agent commission is right now. All right, my friends, let's dive right into this because when you're setting up your infinite banking policy, it's critical that you understand these next 3 slides. So number 1, it's important that you get clear on exactly how much money you're going to be putting into a policy. Once you know this amount of money, then it's critical that we follow the IRS requirements outlined in section 7702 of the IRS code. And basically what this code states is it states how much cash value you can have in your life insurance policy to keep it qualified as life insurance. And it's critically important that we get right up to this line, but we don't cross it, because right up to this line, that means you have a policy designed with more wealth building, more cash value. The further away from this line we go, you have more life insurance, less cash value. So here's where I'm going to dive in. The first thing you need to identify is how much money are you going to put into the policy? And the easiest way to do this is to think about it in 2 ways. Number 1, what is your annual savings goal, right? And this is how much money you want to save per month, per year into a policy. Once that number is known, it should be divided into 2 parts. Now, depending on your age and depending on your health criteria, your number is going to fall somewhere inside of this range. But ultimately what should happen is somewhere between 20 to 30% of whatever you're going to put in on a monthly basis. Let's just use for really, really simple math. Let's say you're going to put in $20,000 a year into a policy. That's your annual savings goal. That means 20 to 30%, somewhere in the neighborhood of $4,000 to $5,000 is going to go to something called a base premium. Now, I want to be very, very clear with you, my friends. Your base premium is your commitment to the insurance company. The insurance company is going to commit to you guaranteed growth, guaranteed access to the line of credit, private policy, and the ability to have everything growing tax-free. But your commitment is, as long as you want to have the policy open and active for you to be putting money into it, you have to put in at least the base premium. So we want to keep this low, number 1, to keep your level of commitment low, but number 2, here's where an insurance agent gets paid. An insurance agent gets paid right here on the base premium. So the higher your base premium is, the more commission is going to the life insurance agent. Now, the base premium is actually a wonderful component of your policy, but in the very beginning, its primary purpose is it's buying you death benefit. So naturally, my friends, we want to keep this death benefit at the absolute lowest possible. And that's outlined in the modified endowment contract rules found in IRS code 7702. And basically what this says is you can have as much cash value as you want, you just have to have the required minimum amount of death benefit. And your cash value will be a function of how much money you're putting into your policy. So you want to have somewhere between 20 to 30% of what you're putting in going to the base premium. In the beginning, that will buy death benefit, but over time, that actually builds cash value for you. And it actually builds cash value at a very, very effective rate. Now, the rest of your premium, somewhere between the remaining 70 to 80% of your annual premium should be going to something called paid up additions. Now, this, my friends, is the rocket fuel for an infinite banking policy. This is why you want the majority of your premium going to paid up additions. It's 100% flexible, meaning you get to choose to put it in, and this, my friends, is what is building your cash value. This is how you have money to borrow immediately, as the agent is taking less commission by lowering your death benefit, and you now have more cash value inside of your policy. Now, a little bit of the paid up additions goes to the death benefit. That's why in most infinite banking policies, you'll see the death benefit slowly going up over time. But my friends, if you're going to have a policy where you're going to put in $20,000 a year, you should buy just enough death benefit in your policy to put in up to $20,000 a year. We want to have just enough to where you can maximize the cash value of your premium, but not go over this IRS line. So we want more wealth building inside of your policy, not more life insurance, okay? Now, the other thing that you might want to look at, and I'll show this to you on an example, is sometimes people want to have an annual savings goal, but they also have an upfront savings transfer. And I want you to think about this as, hey, I've got a bunch of money sitting in my bank account. I want to front load a policy, and then I'll back into what my annual or my monthly savings goal is going to be. But either way, no matter what you're putting into the policy, it's imperative that your life insurance agent understands how to use the IRS code, structure a policy that, yes, it does reduce their commission, but this is what gives you the cash value to start operating your infinite banking policy immediately. Let me show you two examples. The first example here I'm going to share with you is someone age 40 who is putting in $100,000 into their policy. You can see it right up front. This individual is putting $100,000 into their policy, but I want you to notice this. They have $92,000 of cash value immediately available. Now, here's the interesting part. The commission for a life insurance agent is the delta between pretty much the cash value and the premium. The life insurance agent gets paid most of their commission immediately in year one. So it's really easy to see how much the policy is costing you. And my friends, you do want to have a commission going to your life insurance agent because you want to work with your life insurance agent. As long as he or she knows how to operate the infinite banking policy, you're going to be working with them for the next decade plus of your life, leveraging and utilizing your policy. Now, for this individual, it's interesting to note that the minimum required death benefit is $2.3 million. Now, I'm not going to get into how this was structured, but this is a combination of both term insurance as well as permanent insurance. That's how we keep the cost low on this death benefit. But that $2.3 million is the minimum required death benefit for a person at age 41 to have this much cash value. If I roll all the way out to the end of time on this policy for the next 50 years or 50 plus years until this individual turns 121, that's when the death benefit and the cash value equal out. But before that, they'll always have just enough death benefit to equal and meet the IRS rules compared to the cash value. But now let's look at this. In year number 2, now this individual backs off and they put in their annual savings goal. They start off with front loading a policy with $100,000. Now they put in 20 and their cash value goes from 92 to 109. I want you to see what just happened. With a policy that's structured efficiently, in year 2 in this example, most of what the person is putting into the policy is showing up in cash value. And then by year 3, you can see that happening in year 3. In year 3, when the individual puts in $20,000, the cash goes from 109 to 131. Every dollar that's going into this policy is now being reflected in cash value. And what you can see is over time, this individual now has a policy where they can put in up to $20,000 a year. Their minimum, their base premium was $5,000, so they have flexibility in between that range. But now their policy can compound and grow, and the miracle of infinite banking, they can use it for other short-term goals at the same time. Let me share with you a different policy without an upfront savings transfer. In this one, same individual, we're putting in $40,000 in year 1, and you can see in this example, $31,000 immediately available. Now you can also see the death benefit is dramatically lower. Why? Because we didn't need as much death benefit, because we don't have as much cash value, because we're not front loading the policy. Do you see how all of those dominoes cascade together? And in this example, the delta between the premium paid and the death benefit, or excuse me, the cash value available is $8,200. Remember what that means. The difference between these two is the cash value, or excuse me, the commission that the life insurance agent is earning. Now, in year 2, you can see the exact same thing. When this individual puts in $40,000, the cash goes from 31 to 66. So most of what is going into the policy is showing up in cash value. The cost of insurance is falling off. And year 3, we've overcome the cost of insurance in that year. When you put in $40,000 in that year, your cash value goes up by $40,000. And then again, just as in the previous example, now we can front load this policy, use it for the next 10 years, have our cash value growing every single year, And then at some point, we can stop putting money into it and have millions of dollars of cash value. But remember, the biggest advantage is we can use this policy for all of our short-term goals along the way. Okay, my friends, I hope that was helpful for you to see over my shoulder some actual numbers, but this brings me to requirement number 3. It's your agent experience and long-term support. Now, I just outlined how a life insurance agent earns commission, and I want you to be 100% clear. You want your life insurance agent to earn as much commission as necessary, but not more. You want that life insurance agent to be your partner as you're using your policy both now and well into the future. Your policy is a tool that you're going to use for life, not just something you buy once and forget about. You need an agent who's not only skilled at designing policies, but experienced in using them. Most agents don't understand how to support their clients in implementing the infinite banking strategy over a long period of time. For example, I work with clients who use their policies to invest in real estate. This requires a very nuanced understanding of both real estate and life insurance combined. I've personally used my policies to acquire hundreds of rental properties and fund all kinds of different real estate projects, and I can help you do the same. If you're planning to use your policy to fund retirement income, your agent must understand how to structure policies to create real tax-free wealth and income streams in combination with whatever other assets you're bringing with you into retirement. Without this knowledge, you risk missing out on the full potential of infinite banking. Now, my friends, this brings me to requirement number 4, which is having the right policy type. Before we close out this video, let's get really clear on a very big misconception. Infinite banking only works with whole life insurance, not indexed universal life, or IUL. IULs may promise market-linked returns, but they come with some pretty significant risks and costs that make them incompatible with infinite banking. Whole life insurance guarantees that your policy will never lapse, that your costs will never increase, and that your cash value will consistently grow. This provides the foundation for infinite banking, guarantees, not risks. And I want you to consider this. Infinite banking is about taking control over your financial future, not gambling on market returns. Stick with whole life insurance for stability, growth, and guaranteed outcomes. Because in the long run, it's not what you make short term with a higher return potentially in an IUL, it's what you keep long run that creates real lasting wealth. This is why whole life is the optimal tool for the infinite banking concept. But before you begin, you have to ensure that you have the right long-term commitment as well. If you borrow against your policy to buy some real estate or fund a business or do something in the short run to make your finances more efficient, but your policy lapses in the future, was the risk even worth it? Was the cost even justified? You already know the answer to this question. Wealth isn't what you make, wealth is what you keep. So ensure your policy is set up to guarantee you your long-term wealth. My friends, if you found this video helpful, I want you to do me a favor. Number 1, smash that subscribe button, give me a comment down below, and most importantly, share this with a friend. Friends don't let friends retire broke, and friends don't let friends set up the wrong type of infinite banking policy. So that's it for today, my friends. Rise up and live free, take control over your financial future, and I'll see you on the next one. Fearless.